Good morning, 8th standard. Welcome back. In today's session, we are going to do Class 8, Unit 1 in Social Science History, Advent of the Europeans, Part 2. Come, children, let us learn. Before going into today's session, let us have a recap of what we learned in the last one. In the last session, we discussed the introduction and the sources of modern India. The sources of the history of modern India help us to know the political, socio-economic and cultural developments in the country. Well-preserved records are very valuable to know about the relationship of Portuguese, Dutch, French, Danes and English. The archives at Lisbon, Goa, Pondicherry and Madras were literally storehouses of precious historical information. All these sources must be critically evaluated before they are used for historical writing. We can write history with the help of sources like written sources and material sources. Anandarangam is a name to conjure with in annals of Tamil history. He was a Dubash in Pondicherry to assist the French trade in India. His diaries contain the daily events from 1736 to 1760, which are the only written secular records available during that period. We also learned about archives. Archive is a place where historical documents are preserved. The National Archives of India, NAI, is located in New Delhi. It is the chief storehouse of the records of Government of India. Archive has the main source of information for understanding past administrative machinery as well as a guide to the present and future generations related to all matters. It contains authentic evidence for knowing the political, social, economic, cultural and scientific life and activities of the people of India. George William Forrest can be called as a father of National Archives of India. In this session, we will discuss about the Tamilnadu archives. Dear children, Madras Record Office, currently it is known as the Tamilnadu Archives or TNA, is located in Chennai and is one of the oldest and largest document repositories in southern India. Documents stored and archived in TNA are invaluable to researchers working on post-independence Tamil Nadu or British-era Madras Presidency. It also houses a huge collection of Dutch East India Company records from the late 17th and 18th centuries and volumes relating to various southern princely states. Dear children, the Madras Record Office, presently known as the Tamil Nadu Archives, is located in Chennai. It is the oldest and largest document repositories in southern India. Repositories, REPOSITORIES. Repositories means collection. So it has got the oldest and the largest document collection of South India. Most of the records in Tamil Nadu archives are in English. You can find the records that are kept in Tamil Nadu archives are in English. The collections include series of administrative records in Dutch, Danish, Persian and Marathi. You can find a number of records in other languages like Dutch, Danish, Persian and Marathi. You can also find a few documents in French, Portuguese, Tamil and Urdu. So in various languages, you can find the documents in our Tamil Nadu archives, which was known as Madras Record Office, which is located in Chennai. It is the oldest and largest document repositories in southern India. Dear children, the Tamil Nadu archives has 1642 volumes of Dutch records which relate to Cochin and Coromandel Coast. So the archive has got Dutch records which are related to the Cochin as well as of that of Coromandel Coast. These records cover the period from 1657 to 1845. You can see the records during the period of 1657 to 1845. The Danube records cover the period from 1777 to 1845. Dodwell prepared with great effort, and the first issue of the calendar of Madras records was published in 1917. So, the first issue of the calendar of Madras records was published by in the year 1917. So, Dodwell prepared with great effort, and the first issue of the calendar of Madras records was published in 1917. So, it took a lot of effort to publish the first issue of the calendar of Madras records, and it was done in 1917. He was highly interested in encouraging historical researchers. He opened a new chapter in the history of Tamilnadu archives. Dear children, many paintings and statues are the main sources of modern Indian history. So you can find the sources of Indian history. We have got many of the paintings and statues. They give us a lot of information and the achievement of national leaders and historical personalities. We get information about the national leaders and the historical personalities from the paintings and statues. The historical buildings, like you can see in the picture, St. Francis Church at Cochin, St. Louis Fort at Pondicherry, St. George Fort in Madras, and St. David Fort in Cuddalore, gives clues about the different styles and techniques of Indian architecture. You can find the difference in architecture by having a glance at the various buildings constructed at different period of time, like the Church of St. Francis at Cochin and at St. Louis Fort at Pondicherry, St. George Fort in Madras, and St. David Fort in Cuddalore. Not only that, children, the India Gate, the Parliament House and the President House in New Delhi are different styles and techniques of Indian architecture. So you can see a variety of styles and techniques applied in these buildings. Now let us learn about other material sources other than buildings, statues and paintings. They are the museum. A museum, children, is a building which is open to public. It is an institution where things are collected and is available for display. That is, it is a building where a large number of interesting and valuable objects like the work of art or historical items are kept, studied, displayed to the public. Children, other objects and materials of religious, cultural and historical value are collected and preserved in museums. M-U-S-E-U-M-S, museums. These museums help to preserve and promote our cultural heritage. That is, that museums ensure the understanding and appreciation for various groups and culture. They promote better understanding of our collective heritage and hence they are very important. The National Museum in Delhi, you can see that in the picture, is the largest museum in India and it was established in the year 1949. Which is the largest museum in India? It is a National Museum in Delhi. When was it established? It was established in 1949. Moving on to the next source, it is coins. Dear children, coins are also a good source to know about the administrative history. From coins, you can know about the wealth of a particular place by knowing the material or the metal which is used for coin as well as the inscriptions. The first coinage in modern India under the crown was issued in 1862. So it was issued, the first coinage was issued in 1862 under the British crown. Dear children, it was made of silver. Edward VII ascended after Queen Victoria and the coins issued by him bore his model. Instead of Queen Victoria, we had coins issued by Edward VII had his bust displayed. You can see the picture of coins, Queen Victoria's coins made of silver as well as copper. Dear children, later on, the Reserve Bank of India or RBI was formally set up in 1935 and was empowered to issue Government of India notes. So RBI was set up in 1935 and it could issue the notes of Indian government. The first paper currency issued by RBI in January 1938 was a 5 rupee note bearing the portrait of King George VI. So you can see the picture. The first paper currency issued by RBI was in 1938 January, and it was a 5 rupee note, and it bore the portrait of King George VI. Dear children, a fort Saint David was built by the British in Cuddalore in 1690. Dear children, the fort Saint David was a British stronghold near the city of Cuddalore. In 1690, the Marathons sold the fort to British East India Company. Children, now let us understand the term audio-visual. Audio-visual means possessing both sound and a visual component. What you see now is an audio-visual, such as a slide tape presentation. Audio-visual service providers frequently offer web streaming. That is, you are able to watch something live through the web. Video conferencing. Many people are able to communicate, talk by seeing them and others on the screens. And live broadcast services, like you have your live TV news coverage. Televisions, films, internet are called audio-visual media. So all these things come under audio-visual media. Television, films, internet all come under audio-visual media. Time to wind up today's session. Before winding up, let us have a recap of what we learned now. We learned about the Tamilnadu archives. The Madras Record Office, now known as Tamilnadu Archives, is located in Chennai, and it's one of the oldest and largest document repositories in southern India. Most of the records of Tamilnadu archives are in English. The collection also includes a number of records in Dutch, Danish, Persian, Marathi, French, Portuguese, Tamil, and Urdu. Dodwell prepared with great effort, and the first issue of the Calendar of Madras Records was published in 1917. He opened a new chapter in the history of Tamil Nadu archives. We also learned about the material sources like paintings, statues, and they give us a lot of information, and the achievements of national leaders and historical personalities are gathered from that. The difference in the construction of buildings like St. Francis Church at Cochin, St. Louis Fort at Pondicherry, St. George Fort in Madras, St. David Fort in Cuddalore, as well as the buildings like the India Gate, Parliament House, President House in New Delhi, are of different styles and techniques of Indian architecture, give us an insight into the history of that period. We also learned about museums where objects and materials of religious and cultural historical values are collected and preserved. The National Museum in Delhi is the largest museum in India. Dear children, in the next session, we will discuss about the advent of Portuguese. That's all for today's session, my dear children. Thank you for watching. For more videos, please subscribe our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Samacheer Kalvi Guide. Thank you. Stay blessed.